Hey, so a little earlier in March, a very important contract related to Kelowna Regional Transit was up for renewal. BC Transit, which is the provincial crown corporation that plans, funds, and coordinates public transit across much of BC, agreed to renew its operations contract for the Kelowna Regional Transit system with France-based for-profit transportation company Transdev, a 3-year extension effective April 1st. But this ain't no joke, this is serious. So what does France-based for-profit transportation company Transdev do? Well, it's an interesting example of a public-private partnership, where in this case, the province sees value in outsourcing responsibility for the actual delivery of transit service, aka getting them buses on the road, to someone else. And this someone else then becomes the employer. This places Transdev between the province and workers when collective bargaining issues, for instance, come up. And oh boy, do they come up. Because transit workers, drivers, mechanics, are unionized. They're members of the Amalgamated Transit Union, and relations here in Kelowna between the ATU local and these private operators have a history of tension. There is a demonstrated long-running unwillingness by these private operators to competitively compensate drivers, and this has led to strike action, most recently in the fall of 2022, which is interestingly enough when Transdev was actually in the process of acquiring then operator First Transit during a strike. So anyhow, at the expense of oversimplifying this, the province agrees to pay Transdev, and Transdev then pays the workers and maintains the buses that keep Kelowna Transit running. And Transdev, being the for-profit multinational that it is, has a duty to maximize profit to its shareholders. And as Transdev's revenues come from its government contracts, it wants to retain as much of that big gov cash money for itself as possible. Government funding that could and should be paid to workers and otherwise reinvested instead gets siphoned out to pad the bottom line of a France-based, for-profit transportation middleman. The City of Kelowna cannot terminate BC Transit's existing contract with Transdev, but it certainly can lobby BC Transit to end its relations and consider other options. Our former mayor, Colin Basran, in light of that 2022 collective bargaining dispute, was even hopeful following discussions with BC Transit that subcontracting of Kelowna's transit service could be a thing of the past. And offering a vital assist here is the Okanagan Transit Alliance, of which I am proudly a member, which has been pushing for years now for foreign-owned, for-profit operators like Transdev and the Swedish investor-owned First Transit before it to be kicked out, and for the establishment of a Central Okanagan Transit Authority, a local operator that does what Transdev currently does. In Victoria, for instance, BC Transit manages the operation of Victoria's transit system directly, no contractor. In Nelson, similarly, it's the City of Nelson that does for itself what Transdev does for us. There are so many ways that public transit can be improved, and in the interest of ensuring that funding for public transit actually goes to improving the service, building it up to a point where it's a legitimate, reliable, accessible alternative for vehicle ownership, we need to make transit public. For real.